thank the dignitary, invitee and other participants for sharing their valuable time and intellectuality for enhancing our arena of knowledge. I am also highly thankful to all media house present over here to spread our themes. I request our Vice Chancellor Professor D. Nageshwar Rao to address the seminar and share his view.
Vice President Professor D.N. Rao, other dignitaries, Dean Extension Professor Venkanayadu of School of Agriculture, then Mr. K.K. Behra, the convener of this conference, other invitees and dignitaries who have come all the long way to participate in this two-day seminar, faculty members, and my dear students and press and media. A warm morning to you all. I am really happy to see that a 2-year-old department, that is not the department actually, we have named it as a school, M.S. Swaminathan School of Agriculture. This is a small beginning probably to the school, and this they have been planning since long, and it has been materialized today. This has been carried out to see that the young students, they come forward and they participate themselves, and we have invited dignitaries from outside so that their expertise and the knowledge can be shared, and there is a platform to discuss the future issues relating to sustainable agriculture and the food security. As you are aware that, of course, I am not an agriculture scientist to say much about this, but sustainable agriculture, it integrates the production of agriculture and the animal as well, looking into the aspects of economic profitability. So when these are linked, probably the primary requirements are for the agriculture, as you know that, the light, air, land, water, etc. Where light and air are naturally available abundantly, of course, but the water resources, the land that is available probably, they are becoming limited resources nowadays. So how best we can go for the productivity with these limited resources? That is the challenging task ahead for all the agricultural scientists. At the same time, though we want to grow more production in the limited area, the practices which have been developed over the years is alarming, because the food products, they are harming to the health. So that is one more aspect which is supposed to be linked up with the sustainable agriculture. So organic farming one has to practice. At the same time, productivity is to be looked into with the available resources. So watershed management, how to have the natural resources of water and how best we can utilize. And then probably the soil erosion, which is to be prevented. I hope that the invitees, those who have come to deliver their lectures, probably they will be having some of the contents regarding these things, and the students, I hope that they will participate actively. Before inaugurating this, we had been to the exhibition stalls which have been developed by our own students, and the participation appeared to be fantastic, and I congratulate all the students and the student volunteers who have come forward to exhibit their skills. I wish the success of this conference for the students, and I wish that the dignitaries who are coming all the way to participate and to have comfortable stay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. For a brief scenario of Indian agriculture of food security, I request Professor P. Chattopadhyay of Bidhan Chandra Krishi Vishwavidyalaya, West Bengal, to speak few words.
Honorable Vice Chancellor, Honorable Vice President of the Centurion Academic Institute, my old friend Dr. Das, my colleague Dr. Poste, faculty members of this Swaminathan Institute of Agriculture, my beloved students, ladies and gentlemen. Really, I feel proud. Invite me to say something about agriculture, especially on the sustainable agriculture. You will be happy that from 2009 onward, I am associated with the Odisha. I used to work in Kalahandi, especially in Junagadh and Kalampur area, for expanding the seed production of rice and hybrid rice. So I am very much associated with the Odisha. But this district, this is the first time yesterday I reached here in this district, Gajapati district. Really, I am very much thankful to this organization that within 2 years, this university, especially this agriculture college or school, developed fantastically. The students, first year and second year student, whatever I talk to them and discuss with them, really I am happy. As I was a professor, I was a teacher. Now I am completely a farmer and I am working for the farmer. This sustainable agriculture should be the part of our second green revolution. All of you know our eastern part is now given the responsibility for second green revolution. The first green revolution in the northern part. So especially this Bihar, Odisha, Eastern UP, Chhattisgarh, West Bengal, Tripura, this part, the farmer as well as scientists, technologists, they have the responsibility to make it successful, the second green revolution and evergreen revolution. So whatever our Vice Chancellor previously talked to you, considering the all natural resources, agri inputs and affordable resources of the farmers, you have to exploit all this to make it successful in the second green revolution for evergreen revolution, as well as food security for the future. So all of you know in 2050, we need 470 million tons of food grain. So in this year, we hardly reached 241 million tons. So within this span of years, we have to increase double the food grain production. So keeping on the mind, everyone who are working for the agriculture, interest of the food and interest of the farmers, my humble request is that think that we have to produce double the food grain with this limited land area. As you know, the horizontal expansion is completely ceased. So whatever the expansion we have to do in the vertical expansion, more technology like hybrids and others, so we have to apply the technology carefully, keeping in the view of the environment. Vice Chancellor already mentioned that considering the productivity enhancement with the help of organic agriculture, because first green revolution already alarming us what will be the effect of chemical agriculture or not indiscriminately uses of agri inputs, which no doubt gives us the quantum jump of food grain production. But considering all the setback of first green revolution, we have to think carefully. We have to grow more food considering the eco-friendly situation of our nature. With this forward, I conclude my speech. I will talk to you in a community agriculture. As you know, this eastern part is, the holding size is very low, not like this Haryana and Punjab. So my technical session, I will deal with this community agriculture or participatory agriculture, which is the only solution for Eastern Region Agriculture Development Program. With this few words, I thank you all of you once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for the sharing of your long experience in the field of agriculture. I request Professor A.M. Pusti of Bidhan Chandra Krishi Vishwavidyalaya, West Bengal, to speak few words.
Dignitaries, so many dignitaries on the dais, the participants from the different corners of the country as a whole, our university colleague and the students of this institute. So regarding the sustainable agriculture, so nowadays it is our prime duty, task, to think of something about the sustainability, whatever up to this extent we have developed. That is how it is to be retained within ourselves and how it is to be increased furthermore with these stable conditions. So the students already have visited the workshops. They have really done this miraculous job. And within these first year and second year students, they have a lot of things about this, how it is to be used this agriculture on a very sustainable manner. So from my experience as well as in the university level in teaching, research and extension activities and different corners of the world, I have seen here, is because we know very well our total cultivable land is 143 million hectares, and out of which 101 million hectare is under rain-fed agriculture. And within this there are so many years, these are very scarce in nature. So with this very shortfall, with this very limitation of water resources, not only water, but also as a whole, the soil system, that is the lacuna, some of the lackings, some of the technological should break up within these our resources so that it would be in a sustainable manner, how it is to be best used for the agriculture and other allied agriculture sectors for the purposes, for the production point of view. This area particularly that is more or less totally different from our new alluvial zone, old alluvial zone and coastal part of our state. As because there is all these factors related with the agroclimatic as well as soil, water, everything is there is shortage. So within these limitations, it is our duty, task, how it is to be used for our own purposes like this, so that it would be made some of the sustainable in nature. So you, the students, particularly the beloved students of this institute, I have seen this startup of they have done a good lot of things, own creativity, particularly from the sustainable natures, all these, how it is to be best used, the organic in nature and other resources in our country. So definitely they are the very footstep, I think so, and they have the enough opportunity in future just to this sort of creativity in their own minds. The teachers of this institute, they have the responsibility particularly to do something. Professor P. Bandyopadhyay, Honorable Vice Chancellor of this institute, other dignitaries, they have told something before you. And definitely with this with this initiation, I should say, you think over it, as because you have some of the in future, there is many scope you have, opportunity. So with these few words, and I must convey my thanks, gratitude to the organizing committee, particularly to invite me in this great occasion of this institute. Thank you.
I request Dr. Upendra Kumar, one of the distinguished scientists of CRI Cuttack, to speak few words.
Good morning, one and all. Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. D. Nageshwar Rao, distinguished dignitary on the dais, and by my dear students. I am really feeling an immense pleasure to see this type of gathering, especially for students. I would like to convey many facts. Yesterday, I was going through the paper. There means I was wondered to see the relevant subject which is organized by M.S. Swaminathan School of Agriculture. The subject is Sustainable Agriculture and Food Security. The wonderful facts is means the food security is based on land. How many lands we have in the world? See, this land is a limited resource, but we are converting day by day, and limited resource is diminishing day by day and becoming diminished. So one fact is there, the important fact is there, this, if you keeping the constant of this land resource, then we have only food for growing food for 60 years only. Means we cannot sustain. We can sustain only for 60 years, not more than this. And the other fact is, which is well said by UN reports, 6 million hectare per year we need agriculture land to survive or to feed the whole world population. But what is happening? Is it feasible? No. So in a state, 12 million of hectare of land is per year is converted into other purposes. Means you are deprived of food after few years. Then this food security is needed. And I rightly said by Dr. P. Chattopadhyay, means for this Mahatma Gandhi vision is there, hunger-free India. See, but whether we are hunger-free? No. 1960s and 70s, the revolution come, which is called Green Revolution of world or India, which is brainchild of Dr. N.E. Borlaug and M.S. Swaminathan in India. Then in 2004, this terminology is changed. Now it become Evergreen Revolution. Now 50 years of Green Revolution is changing into Evergreen Revolution. Why for? Because due to sustainability. Sustainable agriculture and food security. See, now land is diminishing and the integral part of land is soil. If soil is coming, then people are thinking, oh, this is the soil. For agriculture point of view, for farmer of point of view, then it is a soil, healthy part of soil. But for urbanization, urban, who has no interest of farming community, so they are thinking this is a dirt. Okay, don't play in the soil, you become dirty. But this is a very important part, and you know, each gram of soil containing million of billion of bacteria, million of actinomycetes, thousands of fungi, the whole diversity is there. This is a hidden treasure. We and the microbes are the living part of the soil. If we kill the living parts, we cannot sustain our life. So these microbes are actually an alternate solution for food security, sustainable food security. And the main thing here is the microbes. Basically many microbes are there, but out of them beneficial microbes are there. And the microbes only playing vital role to sustain by their activity like nitrogen fixation, phosphate solubilization and many other, nutrient cycling and all. After at last but not least, this culture, I am really thrilled to see the enthusiasm and energetic approach of the student over there. They have participated in huge and mass to demonstrate the exhibition, and really they are excited, I have seen. See, I did my platform is BSc Agriculture, and that too I did from Agriculture College Bapatla. What I know now from Bapatla only. Agriculture I was not aware, but due to this, and I am here because this is actually sandwich culture. Andhra, or now it become Telangana is separated, Andhra and Odisha. My workplace is Odisha. So that's why I am excited here to present, and I am really thankful to one and all. Thank you.
I request Emeritus Professor P. Das to speak a few words from his long experience.
Professor D.N. Rao, Honorable Vice President of CUTM, Professor D.N. Rao of this Vice Chancellor of this university, Professor Chattopadhyay, and my young friends and dignitaries on the dais and of the dais, and dear students. I thank the universities for inviting me for this occasion to speak to you, and also we had several other things to discuss. I have been visiting this campus several times since 2006, and I am very happy to say that there is tremendous progress over the years with the able guidance efforts of Professor Mukti Misra and Professor D.N. Rao. I have been associated with them since 2006 when I was working at the IIT Kharagpur. I was visiting this institute since then. You have chosen very nice topic, sustainable agriculture and food security. This is a topic of the entire world. Sustainability is a very confusing word. Sustainability to you means different, to me it is different, to people in America it is different. So sustainability is a very wide and confusing term, and particularly sustainability of food to provide the coming generation with security, food security is a great question, and my friends have already spoken to you the diminishing land pattern. Land is diverted for other projects, for development, for roads or ports, for buildings, and very productive land is diverted, and the productivity is also coming down because of pressure. We were earlier taking crops, few crops, crop intensity was very less. Today we think of 200% intensity, 300%. We also try to get more and more from the same land. In the process, the nourishment, nutrient value, or the bearing capacity of the soil gets diminished. And the bright example in Punjab and Haryana, they try to exploit the land resource. To such an extent, the land has become totally infertile. Now it has become acidic, alkaline, and the productivity has gone down. We should learn from how to manage our resources how to make it continue, how to allow it to continue to produce, but we have also limited choices because of human pressure. We cannot allow the land to rest. Sometimes you take a crop, then allow the land to be fallow. That there is it makes up the loss, and there is nourishment. But we don't have that choice now. So you see, I spoke to the young scientist from IRI, CNRI Cuttack. The next century, this century, 21st century, is the century for the microbes. We should use the microbial resource to restore fertility, to enhance productivity, as has been already told to you by my young friends. So actually it is an open question before all of us. How to sustain the productivity, how to feed the growing population is a question, great question. There is no easy solution to this problem. So let us, all of us, think and act. This is high time before it's too late to we cannot wait till 2050 to think what will happen that time, whether our children, grandchildren and their grandchildren will be able to take or will be able to have a half meal or a full meal through the day. So I just invite all of you to think and act from now to how to conserve natural resources and for the sustainability or the survival of mankind in the future years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the sharing of your practical knowledge. I request our Vice President, Professor D.N. Rao, to release the souvenir. Thank you, sir. I request our Honorable Vice President, Professor D.N. Rao, Centurion University of Technology and Management, to address on the future prospects of agriculture in the coming 10 years.
Gentlemen on the dais, off the dais, students, faculty, press, good morning to you all. As a promoter of this, we call this as a university for the poor, by the poor, of the poor. Our students are poor, our promoters are poor, our faculty is poor, so it's a poor university organizing a seminar for poor farmers on food security. Okay. I have just a small presentation. I will not take more than 5 minutes. The reason why I wanted to speak here is, I thought also, since most of my students are here, what is it as a promoter we would like our university to do in the agriculture area in the next 10 years. I'm not an agriculture scientist, but I have dabbled in agriculture right from working with the NGOs. There is not a single cultivation I have not done. There is not a single animal I have not touched. And I have failed in everything. So right from paddy to vegetables to sericulture, I have actually dabbled in everything. And I haven't made money in anything. Similarly, I have dabbled in poultry, piggery, whatever, dairy, and I have not made money in anything. So I am actually talking from my experience of dabbling in agriculture in India. Yeah, the main issue I feel that one of the reasons why, in fact I was just yesterday reading Dr. Swaminathan's speech, where again he was saying, of course after 60 years, we're actually not focusing on farmer, we are focusing on farming. Agriculture was long seen as something that will fill up our food requirements in the nation. So farmers were selflessly supposed to produce us food, and the whole policy initiatives were taken from the account of making agriculture supply food grains to people. But I think the focus has to be on the farmer. We have our own 15-acre farm now. The farming in this area is 1 acre of paddy land costs 10 lakh rupees. They do one crop of paddy, second crop they do pulses, which we are also doing. And the general money you make is about 10,000 per crop. And we all know that even 10 lakh rupees you put in a fixed deposit in a bank, you would make that money per month. So I'm really surprised why farmers are doing farming actually. Okay. So I really don't understand the logic as to why farmers are doing farming, because it is simply not a viable proposition for the farmer to do. Maybe they are doing it just because many people are doing a lot of things because they are used to it, or they don't know perhaps anything else. Farmers are doing farming because they are used to it and they have no other alternative. So viability for the farmer is a major issue in Indian agriculture. So what is it that Swaminathan school that we are going to do here is going to to make sure that the farmer is viable, not only the farm. Yeah, that is linked to productivity of the farms. When we say productivity of the farms, okay, output increasing. This is what Dr. Paul Krugman has written long time back in economics. Output going up is not improvement in productivity. Output per unit of input going up is productivity. So if you have more input going in and more output coming in, that's not improvement in productivity. More water, more fertilizer, more money, more resources and more output, now that's not productivity. Okay? So how do you actually make sure that productivity per unit of input actually goes up? So you would perhaps see that it has gone up. Nobody says that it hasn't gone up, but perhaps it is not gone up to the extent that it should actually go up. There are still huge problems in aggregation in India. Aggregation of land, aggregation of crops, small farmers, small produce, people producing in fact, I had this big frustration when I was promoting vegetable cultivation, potato cultivation among tribal farmers, that nobody was prepared to do more than 10 kg of seeds. They were taking 10 kg of seeds, 5 kg of seeds, 3 kg of seeds. So farm sizes was limited, output was limited, input was limited. So aggregation was a huge problem. Similarly, storage. Again, it's a huge problem that, how are you going to actually store your grains and make sure that the post-storage losses are post-harvest losses are minimized. Yeah, poor and unscientific soil and water management. In fact, I keep telling this. It was called agriculture. It was a culture before. From there it became agri-business. Now we call it agri-business. We no longer call it agriculture, right? So it's no longer a culture, it's a business. I use the term now agri-mining. We all say that Guntur farmers, East Godavari farmers are very good farmers, progressive farmers. The so-called Indian progressive farmer, whether it's from Punjab or from Andhra, is agri-miner. He is not agriculturist, he is not agri-businessman. He is an agri-miner. He puts in a lot of inputs, lot of pesticides. He actually takes out the crop. After 5 years, he will leave the area. All the Guntur farmers who are growing Virginia tobacco in now Guntur have all left that area and all have now migrated to Gunpur, Rayagada, and now they are spoiling the lands in these places. I can assure you that after 10 years, you will not find them there. They will move on into Bihar and West Bengal. Okay. So this is the way they do. This is another type of slash and burn agriculture. Tribals do a slash and burn. Our modern farmer, progressive farmer is also doing slash and burn agriculture. How do you actually deal with it? So that leaves a lot of ecologically unsustainable practices. If you that's what Dr. Schumacher has said, that if you add ecology to our production equation, production is a myth. Right? So a lot of people say ecologically sustainable agriculture. I can assure you that ecologically sustainable production today is a myth. All that we are doing is we are converting one form of natural thing into another form of natural thing. So if you add ecology to the equation, I don't think we are producing anything. Yeah, what are the thirst areas? So then, how do you do ecologically sustainable agriculture? That's not easy. It's not easy. Sustainable agriculture, everybody says, what is sustainable? Is it agriculture? Is it farmer? How do you make it sustainable? When things are changing every 5 years, nothing seems to be sustainable today. How do you actually make, I feel that we are all doing a lot of lip service to sustainable agriculture, but many people have no solutions. We had sustainable agriculture. 20 years back, Gajapati district were practicing sustainable agriculture. We have destroyed sustainability. How are we going to bring back sustainability? Why did you destroy sustainability if that was such a big concern? Why are we concerned about sustainability now and not 20 years back, when agriculture was actually sustainable in Gajapati district? Similarly, how are you going to use technology in production, storage, processing, agriculture extension. There have been also a lot of experiments now happening. ICT in agriculture, for example. The other day I met a company, it's called Digital Green. They are using videos for extension, right? Using ICT in agriculture, okay. So how are you going to use technology? Whether it is biotechnology, people are talking about GM crops. Your new dean is a specialist in GM crops. He worked in DuPont. From DuPont, he's straight coming to Parla Committee, right? I mean, but there are also concerns about GM crops. You know what happens? They say that the effects are not really known. There are people who are for it. There are people who are against it. I'm not the technical expert, but is that the solution we have to look at? No, biotechnology in production, right? Similarly, in you might have seen yesterday in the papers, 20 new food parks are going to be established. One is going to come up in Rayagada by MITS, okay? 20 new big mega food parks are going to come about it, okay? Now once again, who's going to work on the management part of it, you know? How is Swaminathan School of Agriculture going to work on biotechnology as well as in food technologies, you know, processing? This is something that you have to see, as well as in extension. How do we use technology? One good thing about us is that we have an engineering college here. We have a computer science department, we have a civil department, we have a mechanical department. So it is possible for us to integrate engineering into agriculture. That's something that I think our school should look at. Okay. Similarly, we need to have institutional innovations in credit delivery as well as aggregations. We have a master's in development management here. People should look at how do you innovate delivery in credit. For example, we are going to now work with HDFC Bank, which has started a new scheme. They are going to have go downs. Farmers can actually put stock there. Against the stock, they will give loan. Okay, at 13% interest. So, in fact, Gram Tarang, one of our companies, is going to become their agent, and they are going to create go-downs in every panchayat. And the bank will actually fund those go-downs. And so, these are also good entrepreneurial opportunities for our AGBSC students. It is not, that's what I was just telling a girl today, that I met one sericulture farmer in Karnataka, Chengal Reddy. Chengal Reddy earns 5 lakh rupees from 1 acre of sericulture. I have seen it. So it also is possible that if you do it properly, technology is right, it is possible that you can earn your monthly or yearly salary from 1 acre of agriculture or sericulture. Similarly, how do you make it farmer-centric approach rather than farm-centric approach? Okay, I think that's a major shift that we need to really look at. Keep the farmer in the center rather than the farm. I know. Now, food security is for us. What is it for the farmer? Why should he give you food? What are we giving to the farmer? I would like you to debate that also in the next 2 days. Okay, he is going to assure me food security. What is it as a society we are going to give to the farmer in return for giving us food security? Why should he grow our food? While we are in cities and enjoying in the malls, why should the farmer sit in the village and grow our food? What is it that we are going to give back? It's going to be a very, very critical equation that we have to really look at. Okay. Small farmer focus. This is another thing. All our mechanization and all is for big farms. I think India needs a lot of small farmer focus in technology, mechanization and everything. That's something also that we need to really kind of look at. The last thing is also important for you, that I was also very amused when I went this time to meet my IIM Calcutta batchmates, that after working for 20 years, 25 years in corporate sector, they all now become agriculturists. So hobby agriculture is going to come back. You know, where people like us after retirement will have 10 acres of floriculture or maybe vineyards, right? So there are also going to be phenomena. So on one hand, you have poor farmers still struggling for sustainability. On the other spectrum, in Pune and Bangalore and all these places, you will have rich IIT, IIM or Harvard trained people actually becoming farmers and doing hobby agriculture. So I think this is what is the canvas I look at in the next 10 years that's going to happen. I would request our students and all the faculty to really look at and see where do we pitch our school. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable lecture on the importance of sustainable agriculture in the future prospectus by correlating the technological tools in the present scenario of food security. I request the co-convener for vote of thanks.
Thank you, Dr. K.K. Behara sir, for giving me this opportunity to acknowledge everybody's effort for this seminar. So first of all, I would like to thank Honorable Vice President Sir, Dr. Professor D.N. Rao Sir, Honorable VC Sir, Professor D.N. Rao, respected Dean Extension, Professor M.V. Naidu Sir, respected Professor P. Chattopadhyay Sir, Professor P. Das Sir, Professor A. M. Kuste Sir, Dr. U. Kumar, and also to Dr. K.K. Behara Sir. I am also thankful to all the invited delegates, participants, and all the faculties of CUTM staff for their efforts. I'm also thankful to Dr. S.P. Nanda sir for being there every now and then for making this seminar more successful. I'm also thankful to all my students without whom it would have not been possible to conduct the seminar in this short span of time. I'm glad that you have set an example of how to do things so perfectly, that too in a very limited time. I'm also thankful to our media partners, both electronic and print, for their efforts. And special mention to Dr. Anuj Kumar Rai sir for organizing and for every planning that he has done for the seminar. Thank you all.